What's up, everybody? Your boy P. Welsh here. Another UFC Fight Night Tsarukyan versus Hooker coming off a 10-4 weekend. Was too heavy on Wei Lee. Made a mistake there. Probably will do a few less in the coming weeks just because I don't want to, make the same mistake where I'm on one person too hard and like that. But some of our reads were good. Some of our reads not so good. Here for Doha, Qatar. Early start, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the heavyweight division, and I guess they're trying to start this one off with a banger. Two guys making their debut: Bujlo versus Freeman, and I'm just going with Freeman here. Keep it short and sweet. I think he's got a little bit better promotional experience versus Bujlo, but who's more of a grappler finisher, but he's starching guys out in like less than a minute. It's like, how strong is their competition? One championship in LFA for Freeman, even a loss on the record. I'm just going with him, stand-up boxer. If he can't just maul over these guys, his opponent, what does he look like? Going with Freeman, short and sweet. Next up, welterweight bout. We got the legend Nicholas Dalby, 23-6, one draw, two no contest versus Zygid Mergakemev. We're going to basically not be saying a lot of names this week. Saigid versus Dalby. He's 22-2 in his record, and Dalby's 23-6-1 with the 2 no contest coming off the loss to Randy Brown and the split decision loss to Fakardinov. Beat Gabriel Bombfiend, which is aging better, but other than that, Nicholas Dalby's a tough out here. I do worry about the accumulated damage on his chin over the time after him getting knocked out, and this guy's coming in here. Submission specialist with some hands. Been into a lot of fights, so I think he's going to be fairly comfortable. I think this one's a super toss-up. I wouldn't be surprised if Dalby, starches an Ev early on here and ends like the whole parlay before, if people do the Evs in Doha, Qatar. But, man, I don't know. I always want to pick. I'm definitely going Gakmayev, because I just can't trust Dalby at this point. He's like 40 years old. While he's tough as nails, like he might be worth a little action on the side. But I mean, the thing is, he got his nose was just so broken against Randy Brown that he just went out there and got destroyed in the early seconds. So it's just like you can't. I kind of had Dalby against Randy Brown there, and you kind of can't see that happening. But I think Dalby's got a lot of dog in him. If it goes late, he definitely has a chance, but I think he could also be out of there in the first 2 rounds. Official pick is Izgak Mayev. Saigid. Let's go, Saigid. Next up, Narulo Aliev versus Shem Rock. What a name. What a name, dude. Shwakwemi Rock. 10-0 versus 12-1-1. We got a lightweight bout here. Aliev fought Joe Selecki to a decision win, and Rafael Alves in his 2 UFC fights. 2 fights in his now 2 years since then. And Rock, 32 years of age, coming from Octagon. And, I guess I'll just go Aliev by decision here. I'm not going to really go against it too much. I don't know what Rock really has to offer. I'm not too familiar with that, but I'm just not going to go against you know what I mean? It's too hard to break down. You want me to tell you about wrestling and grappling, hit you with the percentages, the significant strikes. Well, look at the UFC's website here. So I think Aliev will just probably control the fight, win a greasy decision, and Rock will probably look pretty good. He's got to throw the hands, probably got to get it work. But it says 9 submissions. You say you got to work the hands. He's got 9 subs. Darn. So yeah, let's just move on. Next up, middleweight bout: Ishmael Nuridev versus Ryan Loder. A couple fellas I know about. Nuridev 24-8 coming off a loss. Ryan Loder 8-2 coming off a loss. Loder was KO'd by Bakoev, and Loder I think lost to Loder lost to Bakoev, and Nuridev lost to Jung-Sung Park or something earlier this year. And I mean, Park's a G, dude. So what are you going to get before that? You got a decision win against Bruno Silva. Man, if you can't finish Bruno Silva, I'm a little worried about your power spikes. Um, Ryan Loder, do I really want to go against him after the Bakoyev fight? I mean, his other win is in a Robert Valentin finish, which is, we were picking Valentin a couple weeks ago before he got canceled up. So it's like this one's really hard to go. I've been going back and forth on. I've been kind of going on Nuradev because he's like on the Omi train. So I'm probably just gonna pick him here. I'm not gonna go against it. Like I'm not trying to overthink it this week. If it don't hit, it don't hit. If Ryan Loder does well, and we're props out to Ryan Loder because I do think he's probably got better explosion and better upside. But I can just kind of see more of a boring fight where Nuradev is controlling the distance and the pace, where Loder might be trying to explode and leaving himself a little bit susceptible to some counter punches and yeah. It's just this one could definitely go either way too. I'm just going Nuradev on the fact that we but it's another thing. We won on fading Loader, so we're gonna do it again. So that's basically what we're picking there. I just don't necessarily trust that like if Robert Valentine is your win. I don't know, but like just standing in there with Park, standing in there with Silva, those guys are skilled. They might not be at the peak of their entire career, but those are a lot of UFC octagon times that are not ended in finishes, and sometimes it's hard to get finishes against really good guys, and maybe that's Nuradev. He's more of a good guy than he is one of these guys that is going to be more prone to knockouts. Probably somebody I kind of consider him similar to what's the guy that just got Nasquist. I can't remember, Nasir Harpquist or something like that. And the Harpquist, but Nasserat. Nuradev reminds me of Nasserat, where he's just like super skilled fighter, really good at like avoiding damage, and you're gonna have to get in there and knock him out to win. Next up, one of my favorite fights of the entire fight card: Baz Bekzak Almakhan versus Alexander Topuria. 12-2 Olmakhan versus 6-1 Topuria. Olmakhan coming off the KO win against Katana, I believe. Yup, lost to Umar before that. And Topuria, I think this is his second fight in the UFC, coming off Kobe Thicknessy. And yeah, I'm picking Topuria here. I got Topuria 4 ways to Sunday. I think he's got a better upside on the wrestling. I think he's got a better upside on the grappling. I think he'll do more damage. I think he's got better cardio. I just also don't really trust Olmakhan there. He came in there and just hit Broad Katona with a one-punch KO like 90 seconds, a minute into the fight. He hit Umar once and then got dominated for 3 rounds. I could see something like that where Topuria just dominates straight 15 minutes, but I think he's going to try in there. I just don't know if you'll be able to finish Olmakhan, so I think he'll be able to basically have one of those great wrestling performances where you just hold him down and, beat him up. And yeah, I can see Topuria over 3 rounds. I can see Topuria inside the distance. I got pure Topuria domination here at even money. It's probably the last time you'll ever see something like this. I'm not saying like you're the brother's name or always a brother, but I don't know. I just have a feeling about him, and I did this at that price. Like I'm all in on him because I just think he's got a lot of dog in him. If you train with freaking Ilya, dude, you gotta have something in you. So let's go, Alexander Topuria all day. Next up, flyweight fight: Tarig Ulanbekov, 17-2 versus Koroji Horiguchi, 18-2. Horiguchi, more like 34-5. The Demetrius Johnson armbar legend. Horiguchi. This is Ulanbekov all day. What are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? What are we talking about? I know he's getting a little bit older, but I know he had a bad. Yeah, this is Ulanbekov. I don't really understand it. He is literally one of the most high level flyweight wrestlers. And I don't understand why he lost to Tim Elliott. Like, he's probably only going to lose to these guys like that. That I don't even know. I don't know. He should be starting to get some more exciting fights. Like this, why is this fight here? You know what I mean? Like he has to get a sub here. Like they need to farm something. This man. So I like Ulanbekov by submission here. Horiguchi, just a lot of experience, a lot of fights, and this guy is just super high level. He's going to be shooting a takedown, be grappling him for 15 minutes, and at some point I think he'll wear him down and get the choke in. Yeah, Ulanbekov, pure domination. Next up, the biggest domination on the line cards. We got Yakayev versus Rafael Kakareya. 7-0. Yakayev versus Kakareya 11-3, coming off Julius Walker decision loss and 2 KOs before that to Aslan and Batestis Bakaukis. That Aslan fight is not aging any bit well with his recent performances, even though he's got a fight coming up in the next week. Yeah, I mean, I kind of think Kakarea's got a chance here, but I don't know, man. He's probably going to get steamrolled. He's a punching bag. Yakayev first round KO. I don't even really want to talk much more about it. I mean, he could even just get the finish. I don't necessarily think I would just go straight KO, because if he rocks him, I don't know, man. I can't see him actually getting submitted. I just think my guy's chin is so dusted that the only way Rafael Tsarukyan, man, I can't believe I say names so bad. Wins is if he can draw it out and win over 3 rounds. So I think if Tsarukyan wins, it's Tsarukyan late, Tsarukyan by decision. Yakayev has to steamroll him. I think he doesn't even take 5 minutes. If Aslan can get you out of there in like a minute, then and 2 minutes for Bukakis. Julius Walker didn't. It was such a disappointment that he couldn't put him out. But yeah, Tsarukyan probably getting finished within 2 rounds. Let's go Yakayev. Probably he might sneak a cheeky submission, but inside the distance first 2 rounds. Next up, featherweight fight. Bogdan Grad, 15-3, coming off a loss versus Luke Riley, 10-0. The loss is to Naimov against Grad. Wins against Lucas Alexander and Michael Aswell into the, in his UFC career. Luke Riley making his debut. And yeah, what do we have to say about this one? Do you really? The thing about Grad is he has very bad gas tank. That he had nothing after the second round against Nureyev. Was Naimov, right? And I think I had Naimov in there. I lost on Lucas Alexander in the second, or maybe it was I don't know, man. I kind of want to go Bogdan Grad here. I mean, that Michael Aswell split decision, but like Aswell fought Lucas Almeida. Am I overinflating that one? You know what I mean? He fought a guy with one hand. Luke Riley's got to put him out. Grad, I think he can be put out. I think he can have a lot of damage done. I think his gas tank can wither early, and got a lot. This one is fucking ballsy, bro. This is a ballsy fight. They want you to go back and forth on these guys, and it's like, dude, I kind of want to pick Grad here. I think he's got a better chance to actually finish him and have a better performance, but just the Naimov fight just doesn't sit well with me, man. I just think he'll be pieced up after the second and third round here, so he's got to get out. He's got to get him out early. He really does. That's his win condition. He has no gas tank, so. If you like Grad, you play Grad early 1-2. If you like Riley, I think you play Riley 3 decision. I'm probably just man. I'm just back and forth in my head here, man. I really thought I was locked in on Luke Riley, but I'm talking myself on the Grad here, Bogdan, dude. Even that Naimov performance, dude, I just kind of remember him just being explosive. And if this guy's going to walk forward, Luke Riley, 8 wins by finish, by knockout, it's like maybe he's going to walk into something. Maybe he's going to have his hands down and he gets caught. Especially for some of these lighter fights, I feel like sometimes if you haven't been touched like that, you can make a mistake against somebody that's looking for it. I'm going Grad second round KO. Something reminds me a little bit of like Johnson Kavanaugh. Going Bogdan Grad. Flyweight fight. Alex Perez, 25-9, coming off a loss versus Asul Almabayev, 22-3, coming off a win. Previous loss before that to Manel Kopp, and that win was against Jose Ochoa. Very boring, dominating fight. Alex Perez is coming off the loss. I want to say it's to. Hold up, I'll check it. Tatsuro Taira from the bad takedown. So he's coming off of that. Rescheduled Urseg against Almabayev, another takedown specialist. And yeah, this is Almabayev all day. The question is, does he get a finish? And I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to get the submission, but I don't know if his submission game is as good as it potentially is. I don't necessarily think he works the ground and pound, and he's not necessarily even the biggest flyweight in there. So I kind of like Almabayev by decision here. Again, I think he's one of those dominating on the wrestling mats where Perez might not. He'll be able to like hold, but he won't be able to do much. He'll take some damage, but not a lot of damage. He'll have some submission attempts, but be able to work it off because I just don't necessarily think Almabayev has insane submission game. I think the people that he did submit are very, I mean, rear naked chokes. So I mean, that's where most of them are rear naked chokes. Maybe a guillotine, but I can't really see Pat going in for something like that unless he gets him on like a mounted guillotine. So I kind of think he's gonna get in there. He's gotten 4 decision wins in the UFC with only 1 finish. I think we can look at another Almabayev. I'll even say round 3/decision. I love that little prop. If you guys saw the post, check out the post. Make sure you're subbed. So I like Almabayev round 3/decision against Perez. I just think he'll put on a clinic, just fight in there. And let's go, baby. Next up, heavyweight fight: Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. Spivak 17-6 coming off a loss. Gaziev 14-1 coming off a win. Spivak's lost to Waldo Acosta and then Jailton Almeida before that, and Gaziev on a train run except for the big 5th round against Rosenstrike, which basically just couldn't come out of the corner. So, I mean, that tells you enough about Gaziev. He'll probably just going to get him out here in 1 minute. I just don't think I just can't see Spivak being able to really take him down. I just can't see it. I just think Gaziev is just absolutely a freight train. He should walk him down. Should be able to finish him. I'll give him in this. I would do 1-2. I think you got to probably maybe give him into the 2nd round just to, maybe Spivak does kind of get him down and wear on it, but I don't think he'll be able to get it in the 2nd. And if he's got about 4 minutes to work in the 2nd round, I think Shamil Gaziev in knockout round 1 or round 2 is pretty much the result here. Spivak is going to have to just wrestle him for 15 minutes at that point, and I don't even know if it will last 15 minutes. If Gaziev has negative ground game and has no gas tank, he could definitely not. He could definitely get finished, right? That's what that tells me with the J0 Rosenstrike, and that's where Spivak has to be able to just get him down and wear him out and use his energy. And he's going to have to do that for basically 3 rounds. I think by the time the 3rd round, he could get him as tired as he can be, where he might not be able to have to take him down and then weather the striking storm where like he won't be put out. But that's how Spivak pretty much has to win this. But I don't think that happens. I think Gaziev is pretty damn freaking strong. He's pretty damn freaking big. Good length. He's got good tempo, good precision. He walks you down, and if he sees you, he's going to throw an impact strike. Elbows, knees. He'll probably even can work the clench, spin him on the cage, and then just do absolute vicious damage from there. That's how I kind of see it happening. I could see Spivak getting in there. He'll work some underhooks. You should be very prepared for the opponent that you're fighting. Spin him on the cage. Just do some massive clench work, and, Next up, welterweight. We have a Orably sighting and a weight class. Welterweight. He ain't no lightweight. Mallet back-to-back Orably versus Jack Hermanson. Hermanson 24-9, coming off the loss, the RoboCop annihilation. Again, Orably 14-2-1, coming off a win, catchweight, I believe, and it was a Kimura. It was the card overseas. He lost to Rebecca. Comeback win against Elvis Brenner. Urus Medic finish. Jack Hermanson, the legend Jack Hermanson, again, taking that big beating from RoboCop, coming down to welterweight now, leaving the middleweight ranks. He had the 5-round Joe Pfeiffer win before that. Lost to Roman Dolizny and a win versus Chris Curtis. Fights against Tom Zotz, or a wrestling match, and then Sean Strickland loss and Vittori loss. Cannon Gastelum. Put out Gastelum, bro. You put out Gastelum. That's crazy. Is Orably going to be able to strike with Jack Hermanson? I'm not sold on it right now. I think the one time Orably had to strike with freaking Mateusz Rebecki, like he got floored. That fight could have been stopped. I don't think he has great defense. Now maybe like coming up in the weight class and doing a pure 170, welterweight will be a little bit better, but he's coming in there against a certified G. I don't want to be on the dusted chin train of Jack Hermanson, how I kind of was on Beneil Dariush last week, but I kind of see Hermanson getting the better of him. If he doesn't get his lights put out, and I don't necessarily think Orably is the guy with pure TKO power for the UFC, right? Elvis Brenner's a great striker, and it took some wrestling to get him down. If you can't wrestle at 170 against Hermanson, who I think has good defense, good takedown defense, 80%. I think it could be a long day here. I like Hermanson here. I love Orably, and I've been picking him his entire career. I think this is the first time I don't pick Orably. I don't trust him at the heavier weight class. Yeah, he won his last fight, but he weight bullied a catchweight guy. He was overweight. The guy took the fight, because he was in his hometown. The war against Rebecca, I just think Hermanson might be able to get the better of him. I think he may be able to weather the storm, and I think Hermanson can win a decision here over the course of 3 rounds. I think I'll have the striking advantage. I think he'll have the length advantage, and I said Orably's got to get taken down. This is what I'm saying. He weighed in at 165. I'm pointing at my screen with my finger looking at it, right? And Hermanson was a 185er last time, so maybe that makes his chin even more dusty, but maybe he was being a little lackadaisical. I'm not a dude. Well, okay, let's do this. Scratch reverse. I'm picking Orably. I just will refuse to. There are just certain people that I will refuse to pick against, like Chepi Mariscal, right? But the people I refuse to pick against, I should actually just think about betting, because, like, that's just how it will operate on the channel. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man. I really don't want to pick Orably though, dude. I really don't. I'm picking Orably. I'm just picking him. I ain't going against him. Now, am I betting him? Absolutely not. I'll bet Hermanson for sure, but I'll pick Orably. I don't know what I'm doing here. I got to go. Hold on. Jack Hermanson, last call. Final answer. Jack Hermanson, final answer. Jack Hermanson, final answer. Call me an idiot. All right. Light heavyweight bout. Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menefield. Atomic. Alonzo Menefield. My guy, Alonzo. Looked pretty good against Umar Sy. Big upset. Beat Julius Walker. And then a couple finishes against Mirzakhanov and Olberg, who's not much to be say here. And Oezdemir, the legend himself, lost to Olberg by decision, win against Johnny Walker, and finish against Guskov. Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth on this one. I just don't really think I can get behind Menefield and picking him again. Even though Oezdemir lost last time to Olberg, it's like, I don't know, man. Alonzo's so big, and I'm just going with Oezdemir. He's had a higher peak, and I think he has a higher peak against somebody like Menefield, right? Where Menefield, you know what you're going to get. Like, if it's anybody that's really freaking good, he's probably not going to show up and do the best. So even though he was on an insane, but the thing is, he was fighting Jimmy Crute and Dustin Jacoby. You know what I mean? His career's been so weird since I've watched the UFC. He had the Jimmy Crute saga, and then he fought Jacoby, Olberg, and a couple losses. Now he's done a couple wins, and now he's going against Volkan Oezdemir. I'm just gonna pick Uzdemir here. Not the highest confidence level, but it's a belief in that, man. I think Alonzo's always a live dog. I think he's always gonna be a dog for the most part, and he's always gonna have a chance to win. His record is really good. He's fought a lot of competition and doesn't lose that easily. But I think Uzdemir has. I mean, he might be dusted though. All it takes is one punch at this point, but he hasn't really been finished like that in a while. So if we're gonna go to the scorecards, I'm gonna pick Uzdemir to get there, and I think he's got more of an upside to finish. Which Menifield has been finished. Official pick Uzdemir. Ooh, light or welterweight co-main event: Bully B Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. 24-4 Muhammad coming off the loss, the title fight loss to JDM. We got Machado Gary coming off the win to Carlos Prates. And yeah, I don't really like this fight that much. I mean, Bilal's in his there's a lot of people that live as underdogs, and they're as underdogs again. I just can't see Ian Gary not winning by decision. Ian Gary winning for 3 rounds. I don't know. Unless he gets taken down, that's, I think, Bilal Muhammad's like win condition. He has to take him down and win by decision. Other than that, I don't really see if Gary keeps this at distance. Gary's clinch game, he's going to just try and bully Bilal. He's just going to hold him up against the fence. He's going to like land and then disengage and play from hella big distance. Back-to-back 5-round main events for these guys to go into a 3-rounder is super interesting. I really wish they could negotiate some 5-round co-main events at some point, but getting them for 3 makes me think that this fight is also super volatile both ways. If Muhammad gets 2 takedowns, it could be his fight. If Ian Gary just can't get taken down, he's probably going to win by just the way Ian Gary always wins, dude. He just is impossible to hit. He does damage, and he's just a menace, dude. I won't go against picking Ian Gary, and this is not a slight against Bilal Muhammad. I want to pick Bilal. I just will refuse to pick against Ian Gary. Just because I think his style is it's just so hard to deal with, and it's so favorable for the judges, and it's very, again, mixed martial arts versus Ultimate Fighting Championship. I think this is like this is a conversation that I heard somebody talking about, and we can talk about it more. But in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, I think Bilal Muhammad would win. But in a mixed martial arts fight, and like this is a fight with rules, right? That's the difference, right? UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, would be, in my opinion, like just 1-round fight, 15 minutes, 25 minutes. That's it, no judges, right? Mixed martial arts. Right now it's a competition. Now we're fighting for judges. We have breaks. We have coaches, right? There's a little bit of a difference in how we're kind of breaking this down and how I ingest some of this stuff and how I see it, change over time and all the, what happens. And I just think Ian Gary is the winner. Ian Gary by decision. I think this fight goes with the cards, and I just think Gary just ends up getting done. On to the main event. Lightweight bout: Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan the Hangman Hooker. Tsarukyan 22-3, coming off a win. Was that Beneil Dariush? Jesus. Dan Hooker 24-12, coming off a win. Mateusz Gamrot win for Dan Hooker. Rescheduled off of Gagey, broke his hand, hasn't fought since last year. Basically, same thing for Tsarukyan. He hasn't fought since that. He fought Charles Oliveira. That's what it was. UFC 300. My man hasn't fought in a year and a half. Yeah, Tsarukyan, dude. 5 rounds. I don't even know if it will go there. I just think, again, he'll just work the takedowns and he'll be better at it. I think Dan has to just knock him out. He's gonna have to find a way to hit him. I don't know, man. You're going to have to out-wrestle Tsarukyan, and that's not Hooker's game. And he's going to probably throw some hands, but he's going to have just enough damage, enough crazy strikes, enough athleticism that he's just going to end up getting the Hangman in bad spots, holding him against the cage, a lot of clinch work, getting him takedowns. And I think Dan's going to have a big advantage with some takedown defense, but he's going to have to be perfect at it. And I'm not sure if he's able to be. I see the height right now, and I really, you see how they can sprawl against the cage, but as soon as you put yourself in that position, the other person can then counter that. I think a lot of wrestlers aren't skilled enough to counter that, and that's why it's super effective because it takes an extra level of like creativity, balance, and that's why the top level of wrestlers are just so supreme because it's just almost like a lifestyle. They've been doing it for so long, so that's where I just think Tsarukyan hangs. Like he's just where that's his bread and butter, and that's where he'll sit. It might be another boring 5-round main event, but I think that's what you'll get. I do think there is the finish potential for Tsarukyan. I do think ground and pound Hooker's gonna put it on the line, maybe make a mistake or two, and yeah, but Tsarukyan all day. I don't know if it's inside the distance. I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, it's inside the distance. Hooker takes so much damage, bro. There's no way this guy is gonna. His face is gonna hold up. You know what I mean? There's no way his face is gonna hold up. Yeah, Tsarukyan inside the distance. We'll do a quick recap and we'll get out of here. Excited for another week of the UFC. Just an insane run that it's been on, and just happy to be here. Trying to do a little bit better with the gambling and winning a few more dollars, and just not get stuck on a couple picks. But a lot of good reads recently, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. Starting with Denzel Freeman, we're going Saigid Makayev. We're going Aliev, Nuradev, Topuria, Ulanbekov, Yakayev. We're going Bogdan Grand with the knockout upset. Amabayev decision. Gaziv KO. Hermanson decision. Uzdemir. Gary. And Tsarukyan. Like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your winners in the comment section. All 100 right. I'll give you $100. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, your family, and your friends. Peace and love.